Hi everyone, welcome back to the Pro MMA Betting Podcast. So we're going to talk about UFC Uruguay coming up this Saturday. As always, quick recap on how we got on last weekend for tipped bets for members. We had a clean sweep on pre-bets. Took home, it was basically 5 units profit from the pre-bets. We actually had a loss on live bet on the night, unfortunately, of just 1 unit loss on live betting. So 4 units overall with pre-bets and live betting. So good night for members. Good way to start the month. And hopefully we can continue that and keep growing from strength to strength as August goes on. Members that have been with us since the start of the year, who bet £100 or $100 per unit, would now be £9,100 or $9,100 in profit if they'd followed our pre-bets to the T, and also if they'd been tuning in for the live betting service. All of our bets are third-party track, guys. I use betmma.tips to track my UFC plays. Most of the MMA plays get covered there. There's a few maybe more obscure shows that aren't covered at Bet MMA. In that scenario, we've also got a betting.gs page where I post them plays, and also I do bet boxing. I don't have anywhere to record the boxing bets that's third party tracked, so I use betting.gs, and also it's quite often I use a boxing and UFC double. For instance, I did the weekend just gone, and that would be tracked at betting.gs. So any bets I can't track at betmma.tips is tracked on our betting.gs page, and all of our live betting tips are also tracked on a separate betting.gs page. So all tips are third party tracked. There's direct links to all 3 of the tracked services that I just described below this video. Also, if you go to our website prommabetting.com, there's direct links to all 3 there. We pride ourselves on being transparent. I believe I'm the most transparent tipster in MMA. I post my bet slips, guys. I also will show you the stakes that I'm betting. I like to prove to members that I am betting what I'm tipping. I think it's very cloak and dagger if fellow tipsters who are charging people for bets aren't displaying or proving that they're betting what they're tipping. And I also think it's quite cloak and dagger if they're not showing the stakes as well. I think you should be proving, if you're asking people to pay for your service, that you have a good unit size. If you're only betting $10, even $50, personally even $100, I don't think you should be asking people for money. You should have been able to build a good size bankroll where your unit size is far exceeding 10, 50 or $100 per unit if you're going to be charging people money. And I like to prove that we are the highest stakes MMA tipster in the world. I haven't seen any tipsters that are posting betting slips that are showing stakes for 4 figures that are asking people for money for their picks. So I like to show that we are a very high stakes tipster. We've built that from scratch. I like to post the bet slips to show we are betting what we're tipping, and I just like to be very transparent, guys. Everything's, as I say, everything's tracked third party, and anyone that you're looking at that's asking for picks, if they're not posting bet slips, if they're not staking their amounts, serious question marks or alarm bells should be going off. Also, are they third party tracking? How long have they been third party tracking for? It's very easy to look at someone that's been third party tracking for 3 months who's got a really high amount of units that they've won, high ROI, return on investment, that stands for anyone that doesn't know. But variance will kick in. You can't base someone off of 3 months. Someone needs to have at least 12 months tracked for you to consider them, in my opinion. So be careful with that as well. And also, when you're looking at things like the betmma.tips leaderboard, guys, it's complete bullshit, the leaderboard. The only thing you want to concern yourself is what that person's ROI is. It's very easy to pad your record on bet.mma tips. You'll see loads of people putting on max 11 unit bets that, like I said, they go on like a lucky winning spree. It quickly grows their unit size, and you see a lot of bogus bullshit bets as well, like fight starts round 2, for instance, or fight starts round 3. You know, these are bogus bets. You can't get good money down on them. Now, if someone's not charging for picks, you know, fair enough, let them do what they want. But if someone's actually asking you for money for their picks, and you see that they're putting picks down like that, like fight starts round 2, you know, it's just they're joke bets. You can't get any substantial money down on them. I don't ever even look at them. I won't be able to get anything down. I'm banned online most places, and I think places like Paddy Power here in the UK do offer those lines in shop, but I remember I've tried to bet them before in the shop, and the limits are just a joke, so it's just not even worth looking at. So yeah, I'd be very careful with people who recommend them kind of bets, guys, and people that are very prop heavy as well, with submission in round 2, you know, just general props in general. They're hard to get good money down on, and if someone's asking you for money and they're suggesting picks like that, then I'm pretty confident in saying that they aren't risking much money. And as I said, are they passing their bet slips? When they do, are they showing their stakes? You know, there's a lot of rats in this community, unfortunately, guys, that are asking people for money, and they have no place asking for money. So just some things to watch out for when you are looking at tipsters. As I say, we like to be as transparent as we can be. I don't believe I can be doing anything to be more transparent. If I can, drop me a message, tweet me, send me an email, info@prommmabetting.com. More than happy to keep the transparency as transparent as possible, but I don't believe there's anything more I can do. But as I say, I'm open to ideas. Anything you think of, guys, let me know. But our website, prommmabetting.com, all the packages are on there. We offer live betting packages, pre-betting packages, both combined. As I said, if you've been with me since the start of the year, in pounds or dollars, you'd be up £9,100 or dollars. So a good return on investment, guys, when you consider for an annual membership, it costs $440, which is about £350. So you've easily covered your annual, and you're in the money. So have a look at our annual. Most people do a monthly to start. We do offer a weekly, but I think to get a feel for the service, you've got to do a monthly, because then you kind of get 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 events in, depending on how busy the month is. A weekly, you know, you're going to get maybe 1 or 2 events, and if we have a crappy event, then you're obviously going to ride us off. But it's a long ball game, guys. This is a marathon, not a sprint. You've got to take it with a long view. I kind of view this as a season to season, so January to the end of December, we don't get an off season in MMA, so I just treat it as one kind of financial year and then move on to the next. So that's the way I look at it. You have to take the long term view. You're not going to get rich quick. Going back to these touts, there's other touts that are risking 30, 40, 50 units per event. If they are asking for your money, guys, run an absolute mile. Even if you're thinking of tailing someone who's free, run an absolute mile. If they're risking 50 units per event, say they're risking 30 units per event, say, if you have 3 terrible events in a row, which is extremely possible, this is MMA, there's high variance, you wipe out your bankroll across 3 events. That's absolute craziness. I will never be recommending you risk more than around 10 units is my absolute max, and very rare for me to even go to 10. Very rarely will I go over 10. Very rare indeed. You're not going to be putting your bankroll at risk with me across a couple of events, guys. As I said, steady approach. I take the marathon, not sprint approach. We will make money long term. I can't guarantee I'm going to make you rich across a 6-month period, but stick with me long term, you will make money. This has changed my life, guys. I'm looking at doing this full time from next year. I've made enough money to put myself in an extremely comfortable financial situation. I'm just basically just trying to tie up over the next 12 months just to leave myself extremely comfortable financially. I find MMA betting extremely stressful with the amount of money that I do risk. The anxiety is it's horrible. So I don't want to be doing this full time and relying on bets having to come in kind of every week to pay my bills. I want to be very financially secure so I can do this and try and relax as much as possible. And yeah, I'm on course to hopefully go full time within the next 12 months, which is going to allow me to study a lot more tape. It's going to allow me to really get my teeth into a lot more shows, such as PFL, shows like that. At the moment, I just don't have time to tape them. Hence why you never see any bets, or very rare for me to throw up any bets for stuff like PFL, etc. The UFC is, they're nearly every week now. They're more than enough to keep you busy, and then you throw in the Contender Series as well at the moment, which is on for 10 weeks straight. It's just extremely busy. I do this podcast as well. I have to keep up to date with all the members. I have to get emails out to them. I have to keep track of memberships and so forth. I've got someone helping me as well, but even then, it's this is a full-time job, and I'm working full-time as well, so my time is extremely pressed. Hence why I want to go full-time, but I want to do it right. I want to be financially secure because betting is extremely high variance, extremely stressful. So I need to be in a place where I'm definitely not having to worry about covering my bills every month, etc. So hopefully next 12 months I'm going to be in that situation. But that's enough about me talking about the service and other tipsters, etc. But just quickly, just have a look at the website, prommmabetting.com. Packages on there, guys. Easy to subscribe. Any questions, drop me an email. I'm more than happy to answer, or tweet me at prommmabetting. I'm going to jump into the UFC Uruguay card now. This is going to be quick picks. Not going to take too long doing this. I don't like the card. I'm also going on holiday next week, so I want to try and do UFC. I think it's 241 on. I'm going to try and do it on Monday because I go away on the Tuesday. So I'm not going to spend too much time on these picks, guys. I don't like this card. I love having a UFC every week, but this card is really, really poor quality, and I don't like it from a betting perspective. So it's not one that I've spent loads of time on. So, I have spent a lot of time on it, but I just struggled to find anything I like. So I'm just going to kind of do this pretty quick. First, women's flyweight, Veronica Macedo taking on Poliana Viana. A lot of line movement on this one. Poliana Viana was the favourite. I think she was at around minus 170. Did I see her at one point? Let's have a quick look on BFO. It's not always accurate. Yeah, minus 170. She's now the underdog, plus 110. So, I mean, I just avoided this fight, guys. Poliana, for me, she's got very good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but from memory, I've not even taped it because I wasn't going to bet it. And kind of Macedo now being the favourite has removed any temptation for me to bet it. But from memory, Poliana, pretty poor striking, good jiu-jitsu, and she doesn't really have any means of getting a fight to the floor. Really poor takedowns. Veronica Macedo, I think she's got a taekwondo background. I actually quite like her stand-up. She's a fairly tough run of it in the UFC. Ashley Evans-Smith was a lot bigger than her. Then she fought the Andrea Lee, a lot bigger than her again. Both those girls very physically strong, and she's coming off another tough fight with Gillian Robertson. So she's had a pretty tough run of it. Probably the best stylistic fight she's had so far in Macedo. Macedo's also moving up in weight here, so Viana's moving up in weight, so Macedo for once shouldn't be outmatched physically. It's a pass fight for me, especially. I mean, Macedo was about plus 150 at one point. Now, I was going to look at tape when she was plus 150. Now she's a favourite. There's no way I'm passing. I recall her fight IQ being dodgy. I remember her rolling for knee bars against Ashley Evans-Smith, and I remember her doing it, I think, against Andrea Lee as well. So, I just don't trust her. She's quite loose on the mat. Big worry if this ends up on the mat. I think she could definitely get subbed, but she's definitely got the advantage standing. At plus 150, I would have said Macedo was probably worth a stab. Like I said, I was going to look at tape, but I've just passed now, where she's gone to the favourite. I've got no interest in really betting Viana even as a plus 110. She's got a lot of holes in her game. From a money line perspective, guys, for me, I wouldn't bet the fight at the moment with the current lines. I don't think there's really any value on the current lines. Fight goes to a decision. minus 165. Don't really see Macedo finishing, so it's just if Vieira gets it down. Yeah, I'm not seeing any value on lines there, guys. As for a pick, I'm going to go with... I'll go with Vieira just because if Macedo was still plus 150, I'd pick her. But look, if I had to place a bet now, I would bet Vieira because she's the underdog. I do think Macedo's in trouble if it touches the ground, and I don't trust Macedo's fight IQ. But past fight, for me, guys, I've got no faith in that fight whatsoever. Next we've got Gilbert Burns taking on Alexei Kunchenko. Burns' first fight up at 170. He's taken this on short notice. He's been struggling to get down to 155 for a while now, so I'm not surprised, but I don't really think Burns is a fully fledged welterweight. Personally, I think he'd definitely be someone that would benefit from like a 165 division. His brother's coming off a win on the Contender Series on Tuesday. Great grappling credentials. Tough fight here though against Kunchenko. Now Burns' striking has improved. He's definitely got power. He started knocking people out. Kunchenko's unbeaten Russian, 20-0. Pretty solid takedown defense. Low volume though. Does have low volume. Now, someone that I chat with alerted me to the fact that he had some problems going back kind of 2.5 years with Murad Abdullaev. Fought him a couple of times. Was getting taken down in those fights. I believe. I think is what the guy told me. And he ended up kind of coming back and winning the fights with. Perhaps it was the rematch where he actually ended up wrestling Murad to get the victory. Not going to be a path he's going to be able to use against Burns. So, yeah, I mean, Kunchenko's the classier striker, but Gilbert, he's got power, but he's still a bit wild with his strike, and he is there to be hit. Saw him got knocked out by Hooker not so long ago. Kunchenko's had, I mean, he had Thiago Alves who shot. It was a close fight. Then a Yushin Okami who shot as well. So he's had a couple of, decent fights so far. His takedown defense does look fairly solid. And Yushin Okami does have good takedowns, but he shot Okami down no problem. But as I said, Okami shot. I think he lost the other week. Okami got knocked out in was it one? Definitely done as a top level fighter. So he's had a couple of easier fights. Hard one to call this. Kunchenko seems more suited to 5 rounds. He's low volume, bit of a slow starter. Is Burns? I think Burns is probably going to struggle to get this to the mat, but if he does, you got to think Kunchenko's in trouble. He does crack, but Kunchenko's got some power as well. I'm going to go with the natural welterweight in Kunchenko here. I'm not confident though. The jury's still out for me on Kunchenko. As I said, he's had 2 pretty easy fights so far in the UFC in terms of 2 fighters that are way past their best. I'd say Gilbert's his toughest fight, but Gilbert's in on short notice. It's his first fight up at 170. He is powerful on the feet, but he is there to be hit. Could see him definitely walking onto something from Kunchenko. If he goes to the floor, then Kunchenko's probably in a bit of trouble. But I think I've got a feeling Kunchenko might get a stoppage here. I can just see Burns being a little over aggressive and walking onto something. So I'll go with Kunchenko, but I'm still not sold on Kunchenko. In terms of a betting perspective, there's too many unknowns for me to really like the fight, especially with I lean Kunchenko and he's the favourite, but as I say, there's unknowns. He's minus 145. I don't particularly see any value on either line there. I'm not kind of in love with anything there. You've got to take an educated guess, which, I'm okay with doing that on some fights, but this one in particular, not really got a lean, guys, so that one's a pass for me. We've got Rodrigo Vargas next, taking on Alex de Silva. Not even looked into this, guys, just purely because I saw Alex de Silva was almost minus 300. I'm not going to bet Alex at that number. He looked decent against Shevchenko, won the first round, ultimately ended up getting caught in round 2. But yeah, I didn't even look into it. It's just, I'm not even casting an opinion on who I think wins. I just know I'm not going to be betting de Silva at nearly minus 300. I looked at Vargas' record and I mean, I'm sure he's nothing special, but he also doesn't look like a complete bum either, which would be the only kind of temptation I'd have to look at Silva. So it's a pass from me, guys. Men's bantamweight division, the Freitas Gutierrez. Gutierrez, very good kickboxer, but he's very low volume. Doesn't go on the front foot much. Kind of happy to counter strike. Gerardo de Freitas, training out of Nova and Yao, looked good in his debut against Gutierrez, who we saw beat, I can't remember the chap's name off the top of my head, Pilate, a couple of weeks ago. Looked better having a full camp. He took the Freitas fight on very short notice, and the Freitas striking looked a lot better than it did from a fight I watched from a couple of years ago where he won a decision. He had to use his wrestling there to win that fight, and he mixed in his wrestling against Gutierrez. Looks like he's got decent takedown, so his striking has improved, but I prefer Gutierrez on the feet. But as I said, he is low volume. De Freitas, he's definitely improved his stand-up, offensively at least. He still looked pretty lackluster when he was pushed onto the back foot, but Gutierrez just isn't really the type of person to push you back, so I don't think he's going to take advantage of that. I think this comes down to whether the Freitas can get takedowns. It's hard to know. That has been Gutierrez's weakness in the past. We saw it against Barzola. We also saw it against Valiev. I think it's going to be a close fight. I don't think Freitas is going to just take him down at will. I can see it being on the feet a fair bit. Gutierrez is a classier striker, but his volume's just a concern. I think it's a dog or pass really, and at the moment the dog is, because I know this line's flip-flopped. We've got Gutierrez at plus 120. I've got no strong feeling on this, guys, but I'm going to pick Gutierrez because he's the underdog, plus 120. Value is probably with him. The line that I don't mind actually on this fight is fight goes to a decision, minus 170. If I was going to bet this fight, that's the line I would take. I think that's a decent line for a fight that I see going to a decision more often than not. Next, we've got the best fight so far on this card is Rolian Paiva taking on Rogério Bontorin. Paiva trains at Team Alpha Male. I bet against him against Kai Kara France, and I thought he deserved a nod over Kara France. I didn't think I was going to get that decision. Luckily I did. But yeah, the guy, he's got good pressure on the feet. He's got good volume, very good cardio. He's scrambling is pretty good. As I said, he's been at Team Alpha Male for a while now, so that's definitely going to help his scrambling game. I think is he a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? I might be lying there. I think he is. But yeah, he's a solid grappler. Takedown defense, I couldn't get a great read on it. Showed some decent takedown defense at times. Other times you get taken down, but as I said, he kind of scrambles up immediately. So seems pretty scrambly and tough to hold down. Bontorin, we saw him on the Contender Series. He got hurt badly in round 2, looked like he was done, and then managed to get the guy down and take his back and sink the choke. Then we saw him take a very close decision over Biblatov in his UFC debut. Again, he basically won that fight through having back control. It was either round 1 or round 2. And I think it was round 1. Round 2, Biblatov won. Then round 3, I had Biblatov edging it, but he got Bontorin ended up getting on his back again in round 3, and yeah, just swayed the judges his way. So his stand-up is okay. I'm not going to say it's bad. It's not bad, but I give Paiva the edge on the feet here. I think this fight comes down to whether Bontorin can get Paiva's back, basically. What I did notice with Bontorin is takedown-wise, he doesn't really shoot takedowns in open space. He kind of tries to take the back from the body lock position. I think this is going to come down to whether Bontorin can jump on that back and either get the choke or at least ride out the round. Now, Paiva was sitting at plus 130 at one point. Definitely thought the value was on Paiva there. Lines of switching there. Paiva's now the minus 120 favourite for me. It's kind of a... I don't know. Bontorin is good, but there's just something I don't know, it feels like there's something missing with his game. Like, if he can't kind of get you down and get you back, what's he going to do? I'm not sure what his takedowns are like. It's hard to gauge from the tape. You know, his takedowns come from the body lock position only pretty much, and he likes transitioning to the back. I'd just like to get a better feel for what his overall takedown game is like, and you know, if he's forced to stand up, how does he cope? From what we've seen, that is a little bit of a weakness still. He hasn't got bad stand up, but and he seems to have a bit of power. He's a bit of a bowling ball. He's well built. He's strong as well. I saw that he deadlifts 440 pounds. So Piper's got more of a wiry frame, but I don't think he looks physically weak, Piper. I mean, you look at him and you'd think, oh, Bontorin might boss him here, but I think he's probably got that wiry strength. But that's an assumption I'm making. But he is scrambly. But yeah, I did think Piper was a better ball at plus 130. Now the line's switched. I wouldn't be keen on betting Piper at minus 120 and Bontorin at even money. Kind of not too interested in that either. So I'm going to pick Piper, but at the current lines, don't see a lot of value. Next fight is Tisha Torres taking on Marina Rodriguez. I was hoping to like Tisha here, but I didn't come away with a great read, I'll be honest, guys, on this fight. Tisha's a minus 155 favourite. We've seen Rodriguez a few times in the UFC now. Struggled in round 1 with Randa Marcos, got taken down and dominated. Won the next 2 rounds with her striking. She did get taken down a couple of times in, I think it was round 3, but she managed to push off the fence and get back to her feet. So defence wasn't there, probably would have been stuck on the bottom, but she's got decent striking and she's fairly rangy. I think she's got a 5-inch height and reach advantage over Tisha. She's decent enough from range. She's a little bit wild, and she's good in the clinch. Now the game plan here from Tisha, I would think, will be to possibly mix in takedowns. She's back at American Top Team, which I like because that camp is on absolute fire at the moment. She's still with Raquel Pennington. I thought they'd split up, but they are still together. But it seems like Tisha went back to American Top Team for training purposes and sparring with people her own size and so forth. Now she's very quick, Tisha. She's good at getting in and out. I mean, I know her fairly well. I bet against Tisha when she faced Andrade. I bet her over Michelle Walterson, and I bet against her against Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I was right on all 3 of them fights. Now she is good at moving in and out. I think she can get in on Marina, but Marina, I'm sure, is going to try and tie it with her when she moves in. She's going to try and hit the clinch. It's how much damage can she do in the tie clinch? Can Tisha take her down from the tie clinch? Can Tisha stuff her to the fence and kind of shut down anything coming from Marina? And Tisha does have the takedown path as well. We've seen her use takedowns in the past. She used them against Angela Hill, I recall. She also used that approach against Juliana Lima. I remember a lot of the first round was clinching on the fence, and then she got a takedown and choke ultimately in round 2. Just can she on the feet? Can she hit? She is good at going in and out. She's done it really well against Andrade in round 1. Ultimately lost that fight because she couldn't deal with the takedowns and grappling. She beat Karate Hottie up doing it, and I mean, her strategy against Joanna was different. She didn't go for that approach. She tried a lot of clinching against the fence, and so I mean, it was kind of just a bit of a weird game plan. But I mean, it was a competitive fight. Joanna, I wouldn't say she ran away with it. I bet her there, and I thought Joanna definitely won, but wasn't a complete domination. And then she did have a close fight with Rose, really close fight, and she was round 3. Rose kind of has cardio problems. Rose started to slow down in round 3, and Tisha definitely won round 3. That was the clearest round of the fight for me. So yeah, she's no mug, Tisha, but she's coming off 3 losses, but they've been against really good competition. But you do look at her record, and her best win is outside of Michelle Walterson. It's probably Beck Rawlins, so it's, but she's had 3 tough fights in a row. I'm going to pick Tisha here. I think she can just land enough in and out, mix in some takedowns potentially, just to edge a decision. But like I said, my read, I just don't know I don't feel I've got a proper read on Marina yet. She had the fight with Randa, and then she beat down but Aguilar's shot. So it's like, how much do you take from that fight? It's hard to read too much into that fight. So I favour Tisha, but I'm just not overly confident. Marina definitely does look, he's a bit wild at range, so I think Tisha's got chances to move in and out here. And then, as I say, if she does clinch when Tisha moves in, just push her to the fence, try and shut down any offence coming from Marina. Marina is 32 as well. It's not like she's kind of young, and not saying she can't improve, but it's kind of now or never really for her, you would have thought. So I'll go with Tisha to win a decision. Not massively confident with the pick, but yeah, Tisha decision for me. Next fight, guys, is we've got Gane taking on Brazilian chap Rafael Pessoa. Cyril, yeah, I mean, it's got a kickboxing background. It's got kind of all the attributes you'd want. I'm not betting him at minus 400. There's definitely some holes in his game. Looks like he can be hit. And there's just no tape on Pessoa. From what I could see, holds his chin pretty high. But yeah, I mean, I picked Cyril here, but I don't think anyone should really be paying the juice. The guy's, he's had 3 MMA fights. Let's not get carried away too much just yet. But I will go with Cyril. Put away. They look like some durable guys he put away. So I'll go with Cyril here to get the win. Next we've got Enrique Barzola taking on Bobby Moffett, men's featherweight division. Interesting fight because we haven't seen Barzola take on a wrestler before. He's kind of had pretty good stylistic matches. He's been able to out-wrestle everyone. Well, up until his last fight, pretty much. He struggled with Aguilar, couldn't get him down, and ultimately got out-struck. The first 2 rounds anyway. He come back in round 3. So Bobby Moffett definitely poses a different stylistic test here. I know at one point I hadn't gotten around to tape, but I'm pretty sure Barzola was at minus 230 at one point, which was definitely off. Moffett earlier this week was at plus 150, where I think there was a little bit of value there. The line's steadily coming down. Moffett is now plus 120. Barzola's minus 140, so a lot of money's been coming in on Bobby here. Yeah, it's a hard fight to call because we've not seen Barzola have to defend takedowns. We've not seen him off his back. Can Moffett get him down? Barzola's got good wrestling, but his top control is really poor. He's also switched camps. He's left American top team. He's gone to American Kickboxing Academy. I'm not sure why he's done that. So in this fight, I'm not sure how Barzola's going to fight. Is he going to wrestle? Is he going to be content to stand? I'm not sure. On the feet, I'd say Barzola maybe is slightly the better striker. Bobby also has left. There's been some kind of split at the MMA lab. It seems Eddie Char's left the MMA lab and started his own thing. A few of the guys have gone over to Eddie Char and left the MMA lab. I know Bobby is one. Closer is another one that's gone over to Eddie Char. So I'm not sure how that dynamic's going to play out in the long run. But I mean, I listened to an interview with Bobby and he seemed, really happy, and it kind of, his hand wasn't forced or anything. It was he tried out a few sessions there and preferred it. So let's see what happens. But yeah, I mean, Barzola's from Peru. This is in Uruguay, so it's not fighting at home, but he's part of the world. I don't know what the crowd are going to be like, whether they're going to be really pro Barzola or not. Where he's from Peru, I'm not sure. But yeah, interesting fight. I mean, to be honest, with the current lines, my favourite line on this fight is fight goes to a decision. It was at minus 200, minus 220 now. I mean, the only way I really see a finish is if Bobby Moffett ties up that Darce choke. And at minus 220, I'm probably willing to take that risk. When he was plus 150, I think he was worth a bet, Moffett, because, as I say, it poses some stylistic questions here for Barzola we've not seen before. But Barzola's tough. He's got good cardio. He's got good takedowns. His stand-up has been improving. He looked good in round 3 against Aguilar. But did Aguilar start to slow down? I can't recall, but he was dominated the first 2 rounds. So interesting fight. But yeah, fight goes to decision for me. At the moment on the current lines, I'm not really sure there's any value either way. Next fight, we've got Oscar Pachotta taking on Rodolfo Vieira. Rodolfo, very decorated Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, extremely well regarded in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world. Off the top of my head, I think he's like he's won the ADCC. He's an 11-time. I think he's an 11-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion. You know, next level kind of ground game this guy brings in. He trains with Jacare. He's 5-0. I mean, there's a lot of question marks. His stand-up's unproven. His cardio's unproven. I managed to find part of the Shuto fight that he won in round 3, but it doesn't tell you what round it is, but I think it was round 1, I'm assuming. It doesn't really help with the cardio questions, but he was basically shooting for takedowns all of round 1, struggling to get them, but his cardio looked okay at the end of round 1, and he ultimately won in round 3, but I could only find, I'm assuming it was round 1. So yeah, there's a lot of question marks here. You've got to make assumptions. He was sitting at like minus 190, minus 200 for a while. I think it was worth a small stab. I mean, Oskar is the more proven MMA guy. He does crack. I don't think his stand-up's great, but he's got power in his hands, this guy. And he's a good grappler himself. But there's levels to this game, and Vieira is one of them high-level grapplers that I think will mug Pachotta off on the mat completely. So he's minus 235 now. Look, I think Rodolfo's going to run through Oskar here, but as a better, you know, you can make assumptions from time to time, but here, you know, there's a lot. I just don't think you can bet minus 235. There's a lot of question marks with regards to the guy's cardio. You know, if he can't get Oskar down, Oskar does crack. How does he react to being hit? Rodolfo, he's only had 5 fights. Not really sure he's faced much adversity. So I think that I couldn't fault anyone for taking a stab at Oskar at the current lines, but I am picking Rodolfo here, definitely. I don't think I gave a pick for Moffett Barzola, actually. I'm just going to take Moffett because he's the underdog, and I think it's a close to pick 'em fight. As you know, guys, you know what I'm like. If I see a bit of value on the plus number, I'll pick that number as well as my pick. So I'll go with Moffett there. But Oskar, yeah, I don't blame anyone having a stab, but I just think I can just see Rodolfo running through him. But I'm making assumptions there, and if he can't get the fight down, he could be in big trouble. And if Oskar survives round 1, makes it a high-paced fight. But then the thing is, Pachotta gasses as well. This is the problem he's got. So yeah, but he does crack. So I wouldn't get carried away with Rodolfo's line. There's a lot of question marks, but I'm going to pick him to win by submission. Latifi, Volkan, Oezdemir. I taped this fight when I was last scheduled to fight, and I remember passing. I was hoping to bet Volkan. I haven't gone back and rewatched the tape, guys, but I'm picking Volkan. I've just never been overly high on Latifi, but just some stuff about Volkan just worries me. Like, maybe I'm looking into it too much, but just when he got taken down by Anthony Smith in round 3 and choked out, it just worries me. I mean, he's coming off that Dominic Hayes fight, which could have gone either way. Really close fight. His cardio looked okay in that fight, Volkan, and Hayes was trying to wrestle him in parts as well. I think he's still having visa issues with regards to getting back over to America to train. So, but yeah, I just remember I ended up passing. I can't remember what the lines were back then either. Volkan's minus 145 at the moment. But as I said, I've just never been that high on Latifi. So I'll go with Volkan. But yeah, I just worry if he does get taken down. I think the reservation I had was obviously, as I said, Smith taking him down. But I think when he gets taken down, he's not great off his back. I think that was my main worry. So I'll go Volkan, but it was a pass for me last time, so it's a pass again. I don't really see any value. The one line I didn't mind was fight goes to a decision is plus 150 at William Hill. I think that's got a bit of value, guys. Neither. I mean, obviously Volkan's had them really quick wins, but that aside, I definitely think there's value on that line at plus 150. Now, I won't go big. I don't like fight goes the distance sweats, and it is like heavyweight, but for me, that's the most interesting line on that particular fight. Next, we've got, this is terrible, Bandenay against Garagorri. I'm not even making a prediction. Bandenay is very low level. Garagorri, there's no tape. Well, I couldn't find any from within the last 3 years. It's a pick'em line. It feels right because no one has an absolute fucking clue on this fight. If you're betting it, you're a complete deegan. Good luck, but no one should be betting that fight. The only line that would potentially oppose any interest would be fight doesn't go to a decision. It's minus 250. I'd even pass on that, it's so steep. So just don't go near it, guys, please. Mike Perry, Vicente Luque. Interesting fight, this one. There's a lot of question marks around Luque. He's, as we know, he's got good power. He's very good offensively, but there's question marks around his defence. He's coming off a quick win over Derek Krantz, late notice replacement, but he got rocked early in that fight. Got hurt by Brian Barberena. He was literally 6 seconds away from losing a decision in that fight. Now, it's kind of easy to write Barberena off after his last performance, but I think Barberena came back too quickly after that fight with Luque, and I think that fight might have taken a lot out of him. But I mean, you look at Luque's resume now. He's got a good win over Belal Muhammad, but he kind of seemed to catch Belal a bit cold there. 1 minute KO in round 1. It's impressive, but sometimes a more impressive victory, guys, is like a sustained 3-round beatdown. Because he's got power, we know that, but it didn't really teach us anything else. But otherwise, you look at his record, and man, it's pretty padded. Let's be honest. In the UFC, Haider Hassan, Alvaro Herrera, Hector Urbina, Belal Muhammad, good win. Lost to Leon Edwards, Nico Price. Okay, that was a good win because he actually shut Nico down completely in that fight. Nico's posed everyone problems. We just saw him give Jeff Neal problems. He's just an awkward guy to deal with, and Luque absolutely shut him down, had no problems. But then he's beaten Chadley Priest, Jaden Turner, Brian Barberena, Derek Krantz. For the amount of fights he's had in the UFC, he's not had a bad run, Luque, but he is defensively flawed. Now, he's got good grappling, but does he have a means to get this fight to the floor? I don't know. Mike Perry's awkward. He gave problems to. Look, he can be outboxed. We saw Alan Jabane just kind of fight on the outside. We saw Max Griffin do the same. And they beat him comfortably. I don't think Luque can do that. We've never seen him do it. He likes to fight in the pocket. He likes to use that higher guard. Now, if you give him that kind of slobber knocker fight, you're in trouble. Danny Roberts got knocked out. High guy Lim got knocked out. Jake Edinburgh got knocked out. He had a very close fight with Paul Felder, who moved up to welterweight. Really, really close fight. And Paul Felder, I think he broke his arm in like round 2 in that fight as well. And then he's coming off a solid win over Brazilian Cowboy, and he gave Ponzinibbio some problems. That was a pretty competitive, close fight. Ponzinibbio was actually going for takedowns in that fight. In the end, so unless you can fight long and fight on the outside, he's going to give you a close fight, Perry. And he's got a bad knockout loss in boxing, but in MMA his chin's held up really well. So for me, I'm not tempted. I do like Luque, but he's minus 230 at the moment. I'm not interested in betting him or minus 220. I'm just not interested in betting him. To be honest, I think the value's probably on Perry, but I can see Luque. It's just a hard fight to call. It turns into a brawl. Luque's got power. It can be hurt. I think the value's on Perry, guys. I don't know if I want to pick Perry, but from a betting perspective, I think it's dog or pass. I'm going to pick Luque to win, but I'm not overly confident. And as I said, as a bettor, I think if you're betting it, I think Perry's worth a bet, because he's probably going to get the fight he wants. There's no evidence to suggest Luque can fight on the outside and fight long. And if it turns into a brawl, then it's probably a 50-50 fight. So I'm going to go with... I'm going to pick Luque, but yeah, definitely not betting it. And I think the value from a betting perspective is on Perry. Fight doesn't go to a decision, minus 200. Is that the best bet? I don't know, because Perry's not been knocked out. Neither's Luque. Or has he? Wait, let me check Luque's record. Perry's not been knocked. Yeah, Luque hasn't either. So you're relying... Yeah, I don't know. You're relying on one of them getting knocked out for the first time in MMA. Yeah, I'm not in love with it. I think it's maybe a bit high. But yeah, I think... I can't fault anyone here. I wouldn't go big, but I can't fault anyone taking a pick on Perry. But I'm going to pick Luque. I'm not confident. Main event is Valentina Shevchenko taking on Liz Carmouche. Shevchenko's going to win this fight, guys. The betting line's obviously unplayable, but yeah, I just can't see Liz. I mean, Liz is physically strong. She's got good takedowns, but we saw in the last fight she was really hesitant to try and take down. Who was it she fought last? Morose, or was it Padilova? Getting them too confused for some reason. I think it was Padilova. Yeah, I think she was just spamming a lot of strikes, and yeah, Liz seemed a bit bamboozled. Did get takedowns in the end. I think they were off kicks, if I remember rightly. I bet on Liz in that fight, and I felt fortunate to get the decision. Yeah, I just think this is a question of whether Shevchenko puts her away or it goes a distance. They did fight a long time ago. It was stopped on a cut. The fight's not available as far as I'm aware, but it's irrelevant anyway. It was so long ago. Both are completely different fighters. Shevchenko inside the distance is minus 145. Fight doesn't go to decision, minus 160. You might as well take that, guys, for the sake of 0.15 points if this is the bet you're looking at. Fight goes to a decision, plus 120. It's a hard one for me to call. I was confident Shevchenko's fight, if I was going to go to a decision. Well, I thought there was definitely value on the line anyway. I can't remember what it was now, but and then she head kicks her into next year. We've seen Liz get hurt with a head kick before against Chikagan. It's 5 rounds. I've not really got a preference either way, guys, to be completely honest with you. Yeah, I just think it's a pass. I'm not confident in either. A decision wouldn't shock me, inside the distance wouldn't shock me. Money line, yeah, it's just not playable now, unfortunately. But yeah, Shevchenko for the win, so I'll go Shevchenko. Right, that's the card wrapped up, guys. As I say, I don't like this card. It's a weak card. Some really poor fighters on it. I hope you make money. I'm not sure. I haven't sent any official tips out to members yet. I'm struggling on this card, and I will not force a play. But we would definitely have live betting. Definitely going to try and make bank on live betting for this card. There's probably going to be a couple of bets actually that I'm going to recommend, but they're going to be quite small bets. UFC 241 next week. It looks, I'm going to be doing that card in terms of breaking it down tomorrow. I've got a day off work as I'm away next week, so I'm going to cap that card tomorrow. I've done a couple of fights already, but yeah, I think that one's a more solid one for betting. This is definitely a tough card for betting. There's a lot of unknowns, new fighters, regional level guys they've brought in because it's in Uruguay. But good luck with your bets. As I said before, guys, memberships, prommmabetting.com, all the memberships are on there. Come and join us. I'm going to try and hit £10,000 or $10,000 profit for members that are risking £100 or $100 per unit. Hopefully we can do it in August, and then that gives us 4 months to move on and get as close to the 20k target I set for members that are betting £100 or $100 per unit. As I say, live betting will be available for the whole Uruguay card, so let's try and make bank on that, guys. But good luck with your bets. Any questions, comments, feel free to fire them away. Hit the subscribe button, And I'm going to try and do the 241 pod on Monday before I go away, guys. So good luck, everyone. Speak soon.